Hello Scorpio, how you doing? Welcome to your Astroflower reading from June the 13th going through to June the 20th. Looking really nice for you actually. Did you find your boundaries? Did they help you out? Did it stop you getting into trouble with the rest of the world? Because that's what healthy boundaries are there for. So it's easier for you, it's easier for everybody. If you want to know more about the Astroflower, there's loads of links in the description below. And obviously, to become part of the Astroflower family, it's very easy. All you need to do is subscribe and click that bell, and then you'll be there. Before we go into this reading here for this week, I just want to go into a few things that seem to be going on in the energy fields around us at the moment. So I did a thing for Cymatic TV, the energy update last week, and the thing that came out of it, the message that came out of it from the Earth was a message of it's time for the human race to take a good hard look at themselves. And this is on an individual basis as well, but this is mainly to do with the collective. We can obviously do that and see how we do things and take responsibility for the things we do, but also at the same time, it's how us as individuals we do things. So it's a time to readjust it. Now, the funny thing is with this is that after that, the other day, I discovered that Saturn was going into Aquarius. And it's basically, the story behind it is it goes in on the 7th of June, goes right through to the 23rd of October. And we did some readings on the solar eclipse and the lunar eclipse, which were back in May in Taurus season, and they run right through to Scorpio season in the 5th of October and the 25th of October. 25th goes into, obviously, into Libra, but it's that sort of period there, and it's like Taurus was the beginning, and there is a middle section, and Scorpio is the end. You guys are the end, the definitive for this cycle. And it's in these vibrations as they come through, you get these moments where the vibration calms down, and this is what we're going into this week. So it seems like there's been a lot of transitional stuff going on in a lot of the readings for most signs, and it'd be interesting to see how your sign sort of goes through that. There is one other interesting thing about that Saturn going into Aquarius, and that's the fact that all the planets are on the same side of the sun. So the sign is a little bit topsy-turvy. But with all those planets in that section there, in one half of the solar system, the sun won't know how to sort of direct its energy, so it's calmed down. And that's what's particularly happened on the sun. So you might have felt that last week was a little bit calm for you, really. Which might have been good because it might have helped you to see those perspectives and put those boundaries in place on a very sort of easy-going terrain, as it were. Okay, so there you go. That's the sort of object. So have that in mind. We're going through this whole sort of transitional sort of thing. Now, and you can look up on things about that Saturn going into Aquarius. It's quite interesting, and it certainly does affect the elements and everything that we do have in the Astroflower. Talking about your Astroflower, this is the relationship side, your energies, your emotions, and this is your money side, your jobs, your businesses, your projects. This is the energy that's running through you with that lovely sunshine, and this is your karmic path, and this is the outcome of that week and how it progresses into the following week. Let's just see what's going on and on the cards in general. This is funny, it's very similar to Taurus actually. It seems like this bottom section here is very in place, as if like they're like pillars of a temple. So it's like they're very strong, defined, positioned and everything like that. And then there's this lull within your guide, and then the outcome is I wouldn't call it a pillar, but more of a case of those combined forces of those pillars make for a very solid structure. And here, I think in the outcome, it looks very, the potential of those new perspectives will become a lot clearer of how you put your forces into it. Okay, well, anyway, let's go. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens to that. We'll see that at the end of the reading. Let's find out what's going on the overall energy that's going through you at the moment. This is the sun, so you've got a 360 degree at the moment. So there might be a bit of a sticking point within the work aspect of life, but it is just a little thing. But in general, if you have been following the Astroflower, if you're getting in timing with the Astroflower, which is there to help you get the best out of life, no matter what the situation, those healthy boundaries will allow you to shine rather than being encased, as it were. So healthy boundaries allows you that space in order for you to sort of explore life. And if you've done that within yourself, you can't count that people won't cross them. But if they do, it doesn't affect you anymore because that's your boundary and they've crossed it and that's it. You don't want to have nothing more to do with them, as it were. But also at the same time, it's going to allow you that space to sort of shine and express yourself to the outside world. And this is what this seems to be. And it seems like you're expressing in all areas, as it were. There's a definite feeling or sensation of being at one with life. I think that's what the message is coming through here. Let's see what's going on in your karmic path within on your relationship side. Now this is coming from you, so basically your karmic path this week is in the relationships is to now sort of saying, with those healthy boundaries in place that you could have put in place last week, it's also going on that journey. And the King of Wands here is as if it's sort of saying, this is the criteria of the relationships that I wish to have with my friends, my family, my community, my couple, every sort of relationship. So it's staying true to what works for you, basically, and just almost being like a leader in those relationships in a way of sort of saying, this works for me. If it works for you, then we're going to have a great time. If it doesn't work for you, then that's fine. We will recross paths in the future without doubt. And situations will be different where we might be able to have a harmonious relationship in the future. But I think it's don't waste your time on relationships that are not harmonious at the moment. Let's see what going in from the universe sort of like bringing into you. This is drawing from that sun across those, across that aspect of knowing what you want out of the relationships, and it's bringing it and it's condensing it and it's helping to give you the fuel for your relationships. You're providing your own community here. It seems like you're building something really nice and feeling really at ease. And the more you build, the better it gets. And the universe is trying to encourage that within you to sort of like, build that, build that community, build that relationship, or build that family. Offer up sort of like, barbecues and stuff like that at your house. A temperance card, can be seen as sort of patience and stuff like that. I don't think it's that. I personally get that whole idea of day and night, that idea that you're paddling on a canoe with one oar, so you've got two paddles on either side, but you can't put both paddles in the water at the same time. And you've got to just know when to put the sun on and when to put the moon on. So it's like being when to be completely open and when to be discreet, and or it could be when to put your foot on the gas and when to take your foot put on the foot on the brake. It's that sort of thing. It's timing. Once you get that timing within you, that's when you can release that inner spirit, that better self of you out, because you'll be absolutely clear with yourself. The guides here, this is how the guides are trying to influence that karmic path. This is really coming. They're taking it from you here. They're taking it from you and how you interact. This is ties in with Petal 10 by the looks of things. How you interact with the outside world. So you are providing the criteria for your guides to be the doorman or the door person you can come through, sorry, we don't accept trainers or whatever. That's what it seems to be like. Page of Swords, so it's how Page of Swords, very childlike, but lots of ideas, but according to understanding. That's why she's carrying that book. It's according to almost rules and regulations and the way we do things. So, I think there's a definite aspect of having your own rules and regulations, so you can express ideas, and those ideas can be welcomed from the outside world with the people who correspond to those ideas within your relationships. Let's just see how you guys are trying to influence the conversation that is within you. This is more resisting the outside flow. So sometimes you've got a river that flows down and it hits a rock and it sort of flows back on itself. And this is where you're getting this connection here, where your guides are almost resisting against some of the things that may not be in your best interest. So it seems like there's a situation where you've organised this barbecue in the family and friends, and everyone's around there, everyone's eating, and some person tries to have their own personal point of view on the political world that imposed on a conversation, and it's like your guides are almost setting up a situation, sort of saying to you, try and divert the conversation this way so you don't create a situation that gets out of control. And that's where it's pushing back against the flow a little bit in a nice way. It's not blocking it, but what it's doing is saying, this rock here you need to go around, and to go around it then you need to be in a harmonious space. And this is where your guides are going to help you to guide that river to be in a more harmonious sort of space. Fool, which is really good because you had the Judgment card up here last week as well, which I'm just looking at here. You did actually have the sun. The sun was coming in from the universe, so it's moved beautifully into that central position here. And this is it's gonna ask you that resistance thing. I think your guides are going to ask you to step a little bit out of your comfort zone, which will be a good thing for you because it can be trying as well. But this seems like it's only a slight resistance, so it's exploring those new boundaries. I think that's how the guides are going to try and offer it to you and help you out. Okay, let's have a look what's going on your money side of things. So you've got the Ace of Swords there on your karmic path. So it's converting things into victories, or converting financial or job-wise or business into a situation where you can start seeing the results from the investment that you've done, either through your time or through money or purchasing or a new way of doing your business. So let's just have a look here. Oh, it's quite fiery up there. I think that's influencing from there, but we'll see about that. Oh no, it's flowing back up there as well. Have a good look at the landscape within your job. So if you do want to do a career, move on a career path, take time to look at your company that you're working for and see how the departments go together, see how things fit together within the company, so you can choose that pathway, that career pathway going forward. I think it's sort of before you invest in something or before you do something, it's not just a case of thinking over it, but just seeing how things fit together. I think that's what it's trying to say here. And if you do that, it could be really passionate and nice and very rewarding. See how the universe is trying to influence your karmic path. It's like a wait and see situation. There's definitely potential that's building up. So the universe is sort of saying, let's see how Scorpio positions themselves and see how they look and see gather their path in their financial world before the universe actually knows best how to help you. So it's a bit of a sort of, yeah, that's it. I think the potential is in that cup and the Ace of Cups. So it's holding a lot of potential of offering out that passionate future. But I still think the universe is waiting to see how you engage. And I think this is going to come out in this section here. Let's see how the guides are trying to help your karmic path. And this will usually be with coincidences that are around you, that happen around you. Yeah, this is much more. They're almost sort of saying, did you have the Five of Swords, Five of Wands last week? No, you didn't. But it's almost as if they're sort of saying the best way for you to advance within your business or within money or your job is to actually almost put yourself up to scrutiny in a way. I think that's the best way to say it. But say like you've got an idea for the company you're working for, or you've got an idea for your business. You need to put it out there to see if the public want to buy that or accept that, or if your company, if that sits well with your company. And I think this ties in with that, seeing that clear path. And this is where your guides are sort of kind of, yeah, okay, so Nine of Cups. So putting yourself out there to scrutiny looks like it's going to provide a lot of gifts from the universe for you. I think then therefore this is what your victory. So this is where the universe is trying to wait to see what you put out there, what gifts you get back from your guides, and how they encourage those gifts to come into you for the universe to actually really help you in a good way. And that will be interesting to see how that plays out next week. I think that's really going to play out, because last week you had the sun down here and it moved up to there. I wouldn't be surprised if the Ace of Cups doesn't move up to that position next week, where you start really living your dream in a way. The other thing which is amazing, which I just realised, you've got two aces down the bottom there. This is a real possible new beginning with those new perspectives. And it could be this week that you could start putting it all into place. It would be best if you did to put it into place before Leo season anyway. Let's see how these guides here. Now these are the ones that are really pushing onto there. They're really sort of asking you to get out there, be very social, to be in the here and now, to be very active, to be very conscious about who you're speaking to, why you're speaking to them, why is it, to have a good sort of connection, good rapport with the person that you're working with, that is maybe your boss or the person that's working for you, in order to get the best out of the situation, so everybody gains out of this. Now this is where the guides will be helping you in that conversation, kind of going, ask them about how how their weekend went windsurfing, or how their weekend went, I don't know, down at the beach, just to sort of build up those rapport, that background information. 10 of Cups, enjoying yourself. This is a beautiful reading. Last week you got grilled a little bit, to be honest, as far as I can remember. But it's certainly, this week here is a completely different kettle of fish. This is really asking you to enjoy that interaction with the world around you. And this is where your guides are kind of going, oh, look, what about that? What about this? What about that? And I'll entertain that idea and see how the guides can really help you with that. Let's go into this is coming up. So that potential, that new perspective of life, will giving you a lot of potential. It's either you're building up a wall to block people out. Maybe there's too much attention coming in your way. That could be for some of you. But it does seem a way of You ever go, this is really not the time, but you know, when you have the big department stores in the cities. I grew up in London, and Harrods used to do these amazing windows at Christmas time. So you had all the, and it gave that whole anticipation, kind of going, I want to go in there, I want to go in there. And this is what I'm saying here. This is this potential that's growing up. It's, you're almost dressing up life, or having that interaction with the life around you, which sets up great possibilities or excitement about what is behind that wall of passion or excitement. And it's next week. It'll be interesting to see how it folds out next week, because that's going to be, it's certainly going to be Pacific in certain areas by the looks of it. And I think it's going to be asking you to apply your energies with certain elements with you next week. And looking at the sun, I think the sun's going to pick up next week. So I think this aspect here of, as in the interaction with the outside world, allow that potential to really grow. And you can convert that into beautiful futures. Four of Cups, don't miss opportunities. I know you had a bit of a roasting last week, I think. I do tend to do really nice readings. I don't tend to roast a lot. I should do. People have told me I should, you know, roast it a bit more, but I don't. But here is this, I come back to that wall of what you could sort of like be having, that wall with the rest of the world, and you're going to realise very quickly that that's not going to help you in the long run. For others, I think it's you've got a lot of potential going on, but your patience, you have a huge amounts of patience, Scorpio, huge amounts of patience. You don't think you do that. That's the funny thing. You're very impatient with yourself and the outside world, you know, but at the same time, when you're working on something, you can have a real long-term patience about it all. But you like things to be moving on, you know, on the surface. And that potential is that potential. There's not a lot of movement. So you just got to be careful not to get in kind of going, oh, it's not going as quickly as I want it to. Because that will slow things down. And that's because the universe is waiting to see how you have that interaction. If you do that, you'll realise that actually that one cup that's being filled up is that Ace of Cups there. So if you seize the opportunities, it's going to make you really happy. Happiness is your destination, Scorpio. It's the destination. So it's not this week, but it's certainly looking like it could be cresting for next week, for the following week after that, from the 21st through to the 28th of June. Be interesting to see that, because we will be moving into Cancer at that point, which is another fellow water sign, so that could play easy for you, a lot easier for you. In the meantime, Scorpio, if you want to be part of the Astroflower family, it's very simple. You need to just sort of click the subscription part of this video and the bell to get notifications. I couldn't remember what I was saying then. Yeah, so there's loads of links in the description below. We do loads of stuff on Instagram as well. Don't forget the energy update on Cymatic TV. And I will see you soon. In the meantime, don't forget, life should be fun, so please do enjoy.